So it's been interesting to see what's happened now with the Mets. And if you haven't heard, this is kind of funny. Javi Baez and Francisco Lindor are now in retaliation for them being booed for not playing well. They're now booing the fans when they do play well. A thumbs down or whatever. It's a kind of a retaliatory behavior or action to punish the fans for their not playing well. Now, a couple things that come up right up to my mind right away is this is New York. This is a market where whether you come here in a trade or whether you come here as a free agent, you understand or you learn pretty quickly what it's like here. And they love their athletes, but when they're playing not well, and especially when they're dogging it or whatever, they do get booed. That's the fans here in New York, and if you act out, from that, and you get booed mercilessly. That's just the way that it is. Again, this is not Colorado. This is not St. Louis or Milwaukee, Pittsburgh. This is New York. The market is completely different. They'll eat you alive. Fans are relentless. The media reporters, relentless. And a lot of these folks will just say what's on their mind, especially if you either refuse to give them an interview or just, aren't nice to them or whatever. They'll figure out a way to get you. So, but it's interesting because these are two highly paid players. Now, Javi Baez was acquired at the deadline from the Cubs, and he's also Lindor's best friend. Okay, and he's pining for a large contract this offseason. And to me, this is not the way to do it. When you act out like that, it's not going to motivate teams to want to sign you to a big contract when you're acting like that. Okay. Now I understand, it's freedom of speech. These guys get to express themselves, of course. But again, keep in mind the repercussions to that behavior is obvious. And I have to commend Sandy Alderson, who's I think the vice president, president of the operations of the Mets. He called it out. He called both of their behaviors out. So I give him a lot of credit for that. And I think it was an important thing to do to show that type of behavior is not acceptable. And will they be punished? I doubt it. They're union protected, but because they're not cheating. They're just acting out of term, just acting like fools, like idiots. But that said, they're highly paid major league ball players, and and just leaves a sour taste in a lot of people's mouths. And I'll tell you this, and this is what really impressed me about Giancarlo Stanton, because when he first came here, he slumped and whatnot. And he said right from the start, and he's not been one to shy away from interviews, but he's like, you know what, when I'm playing like that, I deserve to be booed. That immediately endeared him to a lot of New York fans, including me, and took accountability when he's not playing well. But then, that's why I love to cheer him when he is playing well. He's hitting bombs left and right. He's hitting clutch. So, that's the type of behavior that's more indicative, and that's kind of what differs between the Yankees and the Mets. But don't get me wrong. There was a Yankee who acted that way. Jack McDowell, I don't know if you remember, pitcher, and he was traded, I think from the White Sox, and he had a bad outing, and he got booed off the stadium, off the mound, and he gave the middle finger to the New York fans, and it was all over the papers. And then shortly thereafter, he was gone. So that stuff does not go well here. It doesn't fly. So. That's why I think these guys are getting some backlash now, and I don't know if they're getting backlash from players or supporting them. And this is where you have this is where vocal leaders on the team will essentially step up and sit down with these guys or call these guys out. Maybe not publicly, but sit down. Even if they chew them out, I'm like, dude, we're a team here, man. We're in this together. If you're gonna act like that, that's not really doesn't really show that you care, much about your team and your teammates. So, and I get that angle, but I also get, the frustration from being, treated and sometimes unfairly by fans in New York. I get that too, but at the same time, these guys are, making 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 million dollars a year. It comes with the territory, okay? And, you'd be better off just standing in front of the press and taking it after. If you're slumping or whatever, look, I'm sucking right now. We'll get out of it, and you just keep working your way out of it. But booing the fans, and it's tasteless. And it's really tasteless. And again, if guys like that did it while on the Yankees, they'd be out pretty quickly, just like Jack McDowell was. So I'm curious to see And I know that they just locked up Lindor to like a $300+ million deal, so I don't see him going anywhere. But this could be the decision that makes them not bring back Baez, not give him a deal to come back. Could be a difference maker there. So those are the types of behaviors and the types of things that kind of make me wonder, like, is he a right fit? And some certain behaviors like that can make you realize, okay, maybe he's not the right fit. Yeah, this might not. Yeah, and I think this particular behavior has given Mets some hesitation. And when Sandy Alston speaks up, and he hardly ever speaks out, then you know it's pretty serious. So again, I credit him, and I'm really curious to see what they do. But you guys give me your feedback. Put it in the comments. Let me know what you think. Does that behavior rub you the wrong way? You know, what would you do? I mean, and how do you think the media should react? Or how do you think, what do you think should be the appropriate backlash here? And so on. Like, I think they're going through it now. And backlash is going to be different, but backlash in New York is obviously a little bit rougher. But these guys are battle-tested playoff players, so they can handle the pressure as well. And in New York, as we know, the pressure cooker is hot here. So, but I want to know what you guys think of that. Give me what your thoughts are about this situation. So let's talk.